Hello, Steve White, Tripway 89 for Steve Outs 89, Star Trek's Gatekeeper. I just saw a video on Entertainment Tonight. It's Black History Month in America, and they actually did a whole segment on Nichelle Nichols and gave her a whole 5 minutes, and I was really happy with that, impressed by that. She hasn't gotten the respect and attention that she has deserved over her career for what she did for representation and her impact from Star Trek. So it was nice to see. Like I said, she got a whole 5 minutes. Now, she wasn't there to be interviewed. They showed some old interviews of her, and some were done a few years ago, I think like 5 years ago. But they actually had Sonequa Martin Green on, who was basically talking about her career and doing quite a good job of actually telling her story and explaining why she's that important and deserves this sort of respect. Because I've seen her brought up and appeared on a couple of shows. She was on The View. She's been on a few shows and gotten some acknowledgement, but there are times when I'd see Oprah talking about black women in TV and that, and I'm like, where is Nichelle? Why isn't she being featured? And it happens so often, and there are other people who I felt had less impact on popular culture and their industry that were getting attention. I wasn't sure why Star Trek was being overlooked. It seemed to be some sort of bias against science fiction and so forth. People who were in dramas were sort of taken more seriously, and I really resented that over the years. But Sonequa did a good job of actually focusing on an element that people forget about and they don't really pay attention to. Nichelle's sacrifice. Now, when she appeared on Star Trek, originally, the first few episodes, her character was quite big, but it did get cut down. And originally, she thought she was going to have a bigger role because originally the series ended up being a trinity between Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. Basically, the emotion, the logic, the reason, sort of the three sort of coming together to work out problems. But originally, she was supposed to be the emotion. She was going to be that role that McCoy ended up having, because McCoy, as you all know, didn't come in until a couple of episodes into the series. And he didn't originally, things just changed. And there's a lot of stories as to how and why that happened and so forth, and I'm not going to get into that. But eventually she had a smaller role than she was expecting, and she got an offer on Broadway, and she was going to take it. She was going to leave the show. And she was at a NAACP meeting, I think. I forgot what they're called. She was at a meeting, and someone told her there was a fan to meet her. So she turned around expecting to see some young Star Trek fan, and it was the face of Martin Luther King. And of course, he told her how much he appreciated the series. It was the only show he let his kids watch because it was the only show that had a black person shown as an equal. And she said, well, thank you very much, but of course I'm leaving the show. And he turned around and said, you cannot. He's like, you do not understand, even in this smaller role, not lesser but smaller role, you have more of an impact on representation because you are, for the first time people are seeing us as an equal. And that's so much more important to representation than, this other role that you're being offered. So she decided to sacrifice, this thing that would have benefited her personally in her career for, representing black people in Star Trek, and to sort of put that and how important that was ahead of her own personal career goals. And who knows what might have happened to her if she'd gone to Broadway. She might have had a totally different career because being on a show like Star Trek, you get typecast and you shouldn't have a big career after that. And that was something that might have been different had she left in the first year and done something else. But she put that before herself, and a lot of people don't sort of pay attention to that sacrifice. They pointed out the NASA work that she did, recruiting minorities and women for the space program, which was also a big thing that she did. They did do a documentary on that, which was about time. It had been worked on for a while, but it should have been done years ago. And it was just nice to see her get this attention and to get this much respect, and I think it's long overdue. She, of course, didn't appear because she's got health problems. She's 89. There's talk of conservatorship issues, and the Free Britney movement apparently is trying to take on her cause. And, it's interesting. I mean, the only thing that did bother me was I still want to see Sonequa Martin Green acknowledge Madge Sinclair as the first black captain in Star Trek, because although she's the first series lead, first black female series lead of a Star Trek show, and now a captain. She wasn't the first black woman to play a captain on the show, and some people have claimed that, and she hasn't sort of refuted that like I think she should have. And I think she should give Madge Sinclair some sort of acknowledgement, because she was the first black woman to play a captain on Star Trek. and that was in Star Trek 4. She was the captain at the Saratoga. And she appeared later as Geordie's mother. She was a captain as well. And there are a couple of people who played captains. So there were 3 or 4 black actresses who played captains before she was the captain in the 3rd season of Discovery. But people are acting like she's the first, and it kind of bugs me a little bit because she's taking something from other people. And I really wish she would acknowledge that and people would stop doing that. But in Hollywood, people always want to, get press and take attention, claim things as their own so they get attention and so forth. But enough of that issue. That's a whole other video. I'm just glad they showed Nichelle some respect, and I just hope she gets more of it. I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Thanks. Bye.